The largest bank in this previously bearish Bitcoin country is now turning the script when it comes to Bitcoin in this multi-trillion-dollar giant. Of course, we're talking about the Italians here, folks. The largest bank in Italy is now buying Bitcoin. But why is this a surprise when it's coming from Italy? Italy should be extremely friendly to Bitcoin, right? Well, that's where you've forgotten a lot of the negative policies that the Italian government has passed when it's come to Bitcoin previously. Although the largest bank has now bought Bitcoin, a minuscule amount, and we'll get into all of that. Why is this a shocker when it comes to Italy? Well, it's because Italy previously tried to raise its capital gains tax on Bitcoin from 26% to 42%. Being one of the leaders when it came to attacking Bitcoin and being extremely negative towards the Bitcoin and Bitcoin policies. Now, the Italian bank, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it here, folks. Actually, I will. Intesa Sanpaolo. There we go. I got the little uhs going here. They've purchased a small amount, 1 million Bitcoin, which only purchases 11 Bitcoin now at this point. Is now investing in Bitcoin to dip their toe in, right? As we know, multi-trillion-dollar banks, this little amount is not anything groundbreaking necessarily. It is more along the lines of just testing the waters. But why are they doing this, and why is this extremely significant? Well, it's obvious that banks around the globe, and we'll get into some of those major shifts that we've seen in the banking industry here previously, that banks around the globe are listening to their clients. They're actually doing something very intelligent here. Who would have thought? These banks are now hearing that their clients desire some sort of Bitcoin. So what are they doing? We've got multiple banks. We've got JP Morgan. We've got Van Eck. We've got a lot of these big players now releasing reports that you need at least 1 to maybe even 5% of your entire portfolio in the banking in your a Bitcoin, in your portfolio. Now, why is that surprising? Well, Bitcoin is essentially anti-bank in a sense, right? It's personal freedom. It's getting away from that. But the unique part of everything that's kind of transpired through here is, like, since that Clinton administration allowed banks to become investment banks where they can now invest your money and not just hold your money, they can be investment advisors. Everything has shifted. They now have to look at the incentives and the possibility of people wanting different products that might not be as advantageous for banks. So Bitcoin's being one of them, right? So this investment is now just coming a month after Bitcoin passed 100K, which I think is significant. It's that mental barrier that we've been seeing all this time. And it was from a leaked internal email. And they even called this person out, Nicolio Barcia. Look at that thing I got. I got the Italian going here. No snapping spaghetti today. But he's the head of digital assets at Intesa Sanpaolo. So in this email, he wrote that as of January 31st, 25, Intesa Sanpaolo owns 11 Bitcoin. And they've been doing this over some period of time. So this Italian bank investment comes during a period where increasing institutional interest is coming from Bitcoin. But it's not just institutional interest that is increasing in Italy. There's a lot of different aspects that are slowly but surely increasing here. We've got more and more Bitcoin ATMs piling on in various different cities in Italy. Of course, the bigger cities are leading the way, where we're looking at the top of the list, Milan, Rome, and I don't know. It looks like baloney, but I don't even want to be insulting and say something like that. But that's what this city looks like. Either way, Milan and Rome leading leaps and bounds above everybody else when it comes to embracing Bitcoin ATMs and the freedom that Bitcoin necessarily promotes. But why is the largest bank in Italy now starting to embrace Bitcoin? And just how significant is this? It's because in 2017, the retail bank of Intesa Sanpaolo called digital assets a speculative bubble. Now, it's interesting. All of these guys are flipping the script. That's from 2017, 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago. So they've been tracking Bitcoin since it was in the low teens, maybe in tens of thousands, maybe even below tens of thousands. They've seen Bitcoin fall to below $4,000 in 2020, and they've been tracking it this whole time. And now they are finally starting to flip the script and embrace it. They're bending the knee. They're saying, okay, folks, fine, you got me. Bitcoiners, you've been right this whole time. So I think that this is significant where they're starting at this certain time period. So yesterday marked the year since the Bitcoin ETFs, and that was written about a week ago, or no, a couple days ago. So, it's been about a year for the Bitcoin ETFs. And the traditionally cautious approach is no surprise, but it's only acquired 11 Bitcoin. Like I said, Intesa Sanpaolo is a very big bank, but it's not buying necessarily a huge amount, right? It's the 27th largest bank, and it's got, trillions of dollars under management. And just buying $1 million worth is nothing to really necessarily write home about. It's more of a figurative kind of message to the industry here, right? I mean, I did a live stream previously on JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon coming out and saying, hey, Bitcoin's for sex trafficking. It's all for all these negative things. But they're offering Bitcoin to their clients. They're continuing to see the benefit of having some sort of Bitcoin allocation and offering these Bitcoin products. So I think that it's just a matter of time until all of these banks start to bend the knee. And now we're having the 27th largest bank in the world, the largest bank in Italy, a top 10 GDP by country, a $2.01 trillion giant in Italy, now starting to embrace Bitcoin in a country that was previously extremely negative towards Bitcoin. So I really just think that this could be the push that a lot of these nations really start to see Bitcoin as a viable asset. When giant banks and corporations and even large companies start to embrace Bitcoin, the bigger players have to start paying attention. Right. So I think the first significant push that we saw was the largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, really want to offer a Bitcoin specific product to their clients. They saw the benefit of it. They saw, hey, Aunt Sally losing her Coinbase password is absolutely ripping the tail off of these institutional investors who are advising you to buy a little S&P 500, go 60-40 in a portfolio. These investment banks are realizing that the 60-40 portfolio is absolutely dead and it's been getting demolished. And all you need to do is have just 1% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. The more you have, the more you're crushing these investment bankers. And so they're opening their eyes. They're starting to see, hey, this is the issue. And when we do things like this, like Italy is attempted to do, raise capital gains tax on Bitcoin from 42 to 26%, that people are going to see the incentives and move away. And so, they're seeing that crypto, this is a Bitcoin only channel here, but you guys know that Bitcoin is now starting to go mainstream with Italy's biggest bank has now entered the world of crypto, so to speak, but it's a move that marks a significant moment in the financial institution's history as it becomes the first Italian bank to make a direct investment. And even though it's the first Italian bank, it's also the largest. So I think this is very significant. I think the government of Italy now cannot deny the fact that they want some sort of Bitcoin allocation, whether it's an investment bank or some of their clients. And on top of that, they're offering ways to purchase Bitcoin through their Intesa Sanpaolo card, the Intesa Sanpaolo card, right? I mean, there we go. I got a little Italian flair going for you. I'm not quite Mario or Luigi, but I'm really trying to work it for you guys here. So, like I said before, they're really looking at the issues that this crypto increased tax were holding on a lot of these Italian citizens. And from there, they're starting to embrace Bitcoin and they see the potential benefit from it, right? They are not raising on, we got some members in the chat. Italy is raising the tax from 45 to 25. No, they're not raising the tax. They just decided to not raise the tax from 25 to 45. My man, All Night Hider in here asking where the bond vigilantes are. They're crying in the corner. They've been losing to these Bitcoin hodlers for years on end now, and they're finally had enough. So all of these guys are eventually going to come around, and I think it's just a matter of time because all of these issues are coming shortly after we had, look at this. The bank bought Bitcoin. It was announced it was supposed to be announced on January 31st, but instead it got leaked a couple weeks earlier. And this is less than just about a month after Italy tried to raise its tax hike and decided to scale back because the cryptocurrency capital gains, the Bitcoin bros, so to speak, were winning this time because Italy saw the negative of trying to raise these capital gains tax when it came to Bitcoin. And I think people around the globe are definitely starting to pay attention, right? Norway thought, hey, we can, Norway, I believe, or Sweden, one of the Baltic countries. I'm getting a little brain fart. Maybe I need another coffee. But they decided to try to raise their taxes by 1% and said, hey, if we raise taxes by 1%, we will increase the amount of government availability to money by leaps and bounds of what we previously had. And everybody decided to flee the country. All the billionaires started to leave, and they brought in less tax revenue that following year by simply just raising by 1% because everybody goes where the incentives lie. And I think that everybody around the globe is starting to pay attention to that. They're looking at places like El Salvador. They're looking at places like the United States. Why did the United States become the epic power that it is today? Well, because it was very friendly to entrepreneurs and people building businesses. Now, obviously, the previous administration and everything that we've seen in the past, it's become less and less in the United States, but I still think it's one of the world leaders when it comes to entrepreneurship and everything along those lines. So I think that other countries took notice of that and will continue to look at, hey, if we invest in the people, we don't pull things like this Italian government was trying to do by hiking the taxes. People are going to move, especially in the age of the digital nomad and what we have going on here. And other banks around the globe, like I stated a little earlier, JP Morgan thinks that Bitcoin's going to take off this year. And it's going to outperform other cryptos. I think that's kind of interesting now here, where a lot of these other banks are looking at Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the altcoin nation. They're looking at them differently. And I think that's going to be the major shift that we're going to see here in 2025. Banks, corporations, nation states, they're all going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. We're not going to see anybody put Ethereum. We're not going to see anybody put Fartcoin. We're not going to see anybody put BSV or one of these other shitcoin tokens there on their balance sheet. It's going to be Bitcoin and Bitcoin only for all these big players. And all these major players are going to say, hey, well, this is why I think Bitcoin's going to outperform. We think, the U.S. putting a potential of Bitcoin strategic reserve. They're calling it the Apex token, which has dominated the crypto fund space for competitive use cases. But Bitcoin's also a clear beneficiary for government plan, JP Morgan argues. So all these other guys are really seeing the benefit of Bitcoin and the potential for this price to take off. I mean, I know I got the price popping behind me, but I could pull it up a little closer so you guys could see. We're sitting at 99,000 here. We've peaked above 100K today. Maybe we saw a little price dip by the time I was setting all this up. But I think that at the same time, Bitcoin will prevail and Bitcoin will continue to run up. We're going to see a lot of initial bearish signals. I mean, we just saw the US government, the DOJ, approved to sell 69,000 worth of Bitcoin. Now, whether that comes true or not, we shall see in the near future. But, look what All Night Hider is saying. Not a crypto company looking into lending, but a lending company looking into crypto. Again, Bitcoin only. I appreciate that. He was talking about a mortgage broker who said a lender is working on a crypto lender. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that this is going to do very well. I think that we're going to see more and more of these products start to pop up. There's going to be more and more incentives. There's going to be more desire for a lot of these products to really make waves. And, whether you need to sell Bitcoin or do something along those lines, now it makes it very difficult. There's all these different lenders or all these different, exchanges that have very high fees. And it makes it difficult if you're trying to live on a Bitcoin standard. And that's why I partnered with my friends over at Unbanked. You can go to unbank.com/green candle. You could download the app there. And if you download the app, you will enter a raffle to win potentially $200 of ice cold cash, baby. Well, there's snapping necks and cash and checks here at Green Candle. What you guys can do is you can utilize Unbanked to sell for zero fees. There's no KYC. There's a lot of great aspects of it. They have over 28,000 different locations in the United States. So I highly recommend using Unbanked. They've been around since 2014. So they're one of the leaders in the Bitcoin and Bitcoin ATM space. You can use their app to do a bunch of different things, whether it's buy, whether it's sell for zero fees. And it's the best place. If you want to get cash straight to your PayPal, Venmo, they've got great stuff. So download the app using that link and you will be entered into a raffle for the end of this month, potentially mid next month. We're going to make that announcement here very soon. So be sure to check out Unbanked. And let's see what Phil is saying here. Some people are trying real hard to keep Bitcoin below 100K. And I don't necessarily know if I agree with that, Phil. I think, because President Trump got elected, we saw a lot of initial people start to get in, and that was causing a lot of buying. It was causing a big buying spree. Now, we have the DOJ selling off. President Trump hasn't come in yet. There's been rumblings. Is the executive order for a Bitcoin strategic reserve actually going to happen? It's really just, if you look at Polymarket, the odds of the strategic reserve happening, it's really rides the waves when it comes to the overall potential of that happening. So the price is pretty correlated. So I think we're going to see that come in, and then we'll see Bitcoin shoot off the top. So what's up, Michael from Sweden? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you coming in and joining at all time. And Austin saying the 50x to 100x leverage trader are moving the prices up and down. I'll actually have to look at that shorts volume to see. Maybe I'll do another live stream on that later today to see if the shorts volume and the trading volume is increasing here. I know that about a week ago we saw the potential of a short squeeze with a lot of people going in on micro strategy, seeing that potentially bust off the top. But, MicroStrategy is always buying Bitcoin, and the leverage players on there, they're able to prepare and pay off their debt markets as well. But I'm going to keep this one just under 20 minutes here, folks. So why don't you guys smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, and check out a recent interview I had on my channel with Joe Kelly, the CEO of Unchained. It was one of his better interviews, in my opinion. I know I'm extremely biased here, but if you guys are in Medellin, come catch me at the Bitcoin Medellin conference. If not, I will see you guys potentially later today. If not, I'm going to rip another one tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So I will see you guys all very soon.